Welcome to Video 2, Active Discovery, Uncovering the True Need. In our first session, we built the architecture of trust. We learned how to master the first 7 seconds. We aligned our physical and vocal presence. We established rapport, but rapport is only the beginning. Rapport makes the customer comfortable. It does not solve their problem. To solve their problem, you must understand it. And to understand it, you must master the art of active discovery. Today, we will move beyond surface level requests. We will explore the difference between hearing and listening. We will unlock the power of open-ended questions. We will deploy the 5 whys framework, and we will solidify our understanding with a reflective summary. Let us begin with the fundamental difference between hearing and listening. Hearing is a biological process. It is passive. Sound waves enter your ear and vibrate against your eardrum. You do not have to try to hear. It just happens. Listening is a cognitive process. It is active. It requires focus, energy, and intent. Most professionals do not listen. They hear. They hear the customer speaking, but they are not processing the meaning. Instead, they are waiting for their turn to speak. They are formulating their reply while the customer is still talking. This is dangerous. When you listen simply to reply, you miss the subtext. You miss the emotion. You miss the actual problem. You end up offering a brilliant solution to the wrong problem. Active listening requires you to silence your internal monologue. You must suspend your desire to pitch your product or offer immediate advice. You must become a detective. Your only goal is to gather data and understand the customer's reality. When a customer says, "Our software is too slow," the amateur immediately says, "Our new software is twice as fast." The amateur heard the word slow and immediately pitched speed. The professional listens. The professional knows that slow is a symptom, not a disease. The professional seeks to diagnose the disease. To diagnose the disease, you must use the right tools. The most important tool in your kit is the open-ended question. A closed-ended question can be answered with a simple yes or no. Do you like your current vendor? Is your budget approved? Are you looking for a new system? Closed-ended questions are useful for confirming facts, but they are terrible for discovery. They shut down the conversation. They interrogate the customer rather than inviting them to share. An open-ended question requires the customer to explain. It begins with words like how, what, or why, or it begins with a prompt like, "Tell me about." Instead of asking, "Do you like your current vendor?" ask, "What has been your experience with your current vendor?" Instead of asking, "Are you looking for a new system?" ask, "What prompted you to reach out to us today?" Open-ended questions force the customer to paint a picture. They reveal the context of their pain. They give you the narrative. When you ask an open-ended question, you must do something very difficult. You must embrace silence. Ask the question, and then stop talking. Let the customer think. Let them fill the void. Often, the most valuable information comes after a brief pause. If you rush to fill the silence, you step on their thoughts. You ruin the discovery. As the customer begins to paint the picture, you will notice that their initial complaint is rarely the actual problem. Customers speak in symptoms. They say, "We need a new database," or they say, "We need leadership training." If you accept these surface level requests, you become a commodity. You are just an order taker. To become a trusted advisor, you must drill down to the root cause. You do this using the 5 whys framework. The 5 whys is a general probing technique. It was originally developed in the manufacturing industry to find the root cause of assembly line defects. It works perfectly in human communication. When the customer states a problem, you ask why. When they answer, you ask why again. You repeat this process up to 5 times, peeling back the layers of the onion. It sounds simple, but it must be done with empathy. You cannot sound like an interrogator asking why over and over. You must soften the question. The customer says, "We need a new database." You ask, "What is driving the need for a new system right now?" That is the first why. The customer says, "Our sales team is missing their targets." You ask, "Why do you think the current system is causing them to miss targets?" That is the second why. The customer says, "Because it takes too long to enter data, so they just do not do it." You ask, "Can you help me understand why the data entry is taking so long?" That is the third why. The customer says, "Because they have to enter the exact same information into 3 different screens before they can make a phone call." Now you have found the root cause. The problem is not that they need a new database. The problem is workflow duplication. The emotional need is frustration. The business need is efficiency. By using the 5 whys, you have moved from a surface level request to a deep, structural problem. You are no longer selling software. You are selling time and morale. Once you have uncovered the true need, you must prove to the customer that you understand them. You must eliminate all doubt. You do this with a reflective summary. The reflective summary is the act of repeating the customer's needs back to them, using their own words. It is not a parrot trick. It is a demonstration of empathy and alignment. Before you offer any solutions, you pause. You say, "Let me make sure I have this right." Then, you summarize the journey you just took together. You say, "You came to us looking for a new database, but what I am hearing is that the real issue is workflow duplication. Your team is frustrated because they are entering data 3 times. This is eating up their time and causing them to miss their sales targets." Is that accurate? When you deliver a flawless reflective summary, something magical happens. The customer feels seen. They feel heard. They feel understood. They will usually respond by saying, "Exactly," or "That is exactly right." When you hear the word exactly, you have achieved total alignment. The discovery phase is complete. The foundation is solid. Let us review the process. You elevate your communication by listening to understand, not to reply. You use open-ended questions to gather the narrative and embrace the silence that follows. You use the 5 whys framework to gently drill down past the symptoms to find the root cause. And you use the reflective summary to prove your understanding and gain total alignment. When you master active discovery, you stop guessing what your customers want. You uncover exactly what they need. In our next video, we will learn how to navigate friction. We will discuss how to handle objections, maintain emotional control, and to escalate difficult customers. Thank you for listening.